let her introduce, and then worst comes to worst, I'll call them.
I think there ought to be an expression. The hat's got it. So good morning, and welcome to Unity of Buffalo, a positive path for spiritual living. And we're blessed to have you here in person, to have our choir here with their hats on, and they're ready to sing. And we're blessed to be joined by people watching us online in person or throughout the week. Just a reminder, if you have a cell phone, to please put it on silent mode so we can really all be present together this morning. And our opening song is I Choose Joy. And I believe our choir is going to lead us. But
come on up.
But you're all welcome to stand and sing along. This is a good song for all of us to sing.
Are we the Glad Hatters? Is that what we've landed on officially? Glad Hatters. We're ready.
Glad Hatters.
Come tumbling down, I choose joy, I choose joy. When the world stops spinning round, I choose joy, I choose joy. When my heart's hard to move, when my music has lost the groove, when I have too much to prove, I choose joy, I choose joy. I choose joy, 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 joy. I choose joy. When hate is all I see, I choose joy, I choose joy. When fear won't let me be, I choose joy, I choose joy. When betrayal lies hide the light from my eyes, I look up to the sky. I choose joy, I choose joy. Joy, 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 joy. I choose joy. Joy, 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 joy. I choose joy. In this moment, right here, I choose joy, I choose joy. For the ones that I hold dear, I choose joy, I choose joy. To be who I might be, for the light to shine on me, for everybody to be free. I choose joy, I choose joy. Joy, 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 I choose joy. Joy, 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 joy.
Wow, that was really great. Thank you. Thank you, choir. Thank you, Thomas, for bringing it all together. Thank you, everybody, for their contributions. So, welcome again if you just came in to Unity of Buffalo. And my name is Mary Masters. I'm the senior minister here, and it's my honor and pleasure to stand here most Sundays and share a message. So let's begin with prayer, the most important thing we've sung, which is praying twice, and we put the cherry on top of the cupcake today with our spoken prayers. And let us just take a deep breath and give thanks for the spiritual community and all that we stand for. And we know the power of community, of prayer, of singing, of worship. We know that when we come together, something greater than ourselves, than our individual understanding, is revealed. So we come together today with open hearts, open minds, with a desire to be a stand in the world for love and light, harmony, our vision of a world of love, peace, and abundance for all, no exceptions. We stand for that, and we rise up above everything else that is less than that. Because God needs us right now where we are, in this very moment, this very time. We are all here for an important reason. Thank you, God. Amen. And so let's also affirm our invocation, the core foundational principle of unity. There is only one presence and one power living as the universe and as me, God the good, omnipotent. And we bless our ministry and we bless our world by each week affirming what we're all about. And our vision, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission, our part, is practicing the presence of God through prayer, education, service, creativity, and community. And we remind ourselves of these things because we're still growing. We're not perfect. None of us is, we have our collective and our individual shadow side that it's good to look at so that we can move through it. And so we can say that please have compassion for us when we're avoiding conflict or lacking transparency or unskillfully communicating, not being present, spiritually bypassing. I can claim, I see myself on that list for sure. But we say those things because we are committed to something much greater, something much more important. We're committed to showing up to be together, loving, spiritually centered, inclusive, respectful, compassionate, and authentic. Because we have a purpose, an evolutionary purpose, that is always, every day, in every way, unfolding even more, transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. So, one thing that I realized I think we forgot last week, unless I'm mistaken, is our November birthdays. And so we're going to do it today. So I unskillfully communicated and left it off. So if you're on this list, or if your birthday is in this month, I know Tom for sure, maybe you're here to represent the group. And Jean's birthday, if you'd like to stand up or come forward. And Christy, Hestreiter, her married name. So please come forward and let us wish you a happy birthday together. Or sing. Get a little closer. You can be friends. Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friends. Happy birthday to you.
God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you. You're wonderful. God is blessing during this month of Thanksgiving, we are giving thanks for each one of you and everybody on this list and everybody that's born in November. So now Susan is our daily word reader for today, and she's going to come forward and read a message about freedom.
Good morning, church family.
Good morning.
Freedom, Sunday, November 10th, 2024. The Christ within is my source of freedom. Freedom is my spiritual birthright. I live my freedom when I speak my mind, pursue my dreams, and live with dignity and self-respect. It means I am self-directed, and I use my spiritual gifts of understanding, faith, love, and strength to guide my decisions and actions. As I do, I feel free. I do what I can to support freedom for myself and others. I honor and give thanks for all those whose courage and dedication in service have helped build and sustain a world where all people can know true freedom. In prayer, I envision a harmonious human community that assures everyone's basic needs are met, respecting differing viewpoints, and celebrates the unique expression of God that each person is. Today's scripture reads, "As servants of God, live as free people, yet do not use your freedom as a pretext for evil." 1 Peter 2, verse 16. Will you repeat today's affirmation with me? The Christ within is my source of freedom. Thank you, and go Bills.
Yep, okay. Thank you. So the other thing that we want to take time to acknowledge today is that tomorrow is Veterans Day. And I feel like this is a time in our community that we honor the veterans in our community, in our families, in our world. And we have an opportunity to do what we really should do every day when we meet a veteran, is to say thank you for your service. People have served our nation with great sacrifice, and we owe them a debt of gratitude and appreciation. So if you're present here today, and if you'd like, I'd invite you to stand. If you're watching online, and I know there might be one or two, or at least, you might raise your hand. And for all the veterans in our community, and in our families, and in our world, we want to give you our blessing. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. May you all be well, may our country be blessed, and may our world find peace. Thank you. So today, there was a TV show that my parents used to watch when I was growing up in the 60s. That was the week that was. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Maybe it dates me. But, okay, we'll stay on this for a minute. But last week I shared a prayer that was going around in unity circles, and I thought maybe it's really worth sharing again today. So I'd like to start this part of our service with a prayer. Beloved, after the election, we know some will rejoice. Let them not gloat. After the election, we know some will grieve. Let them not despair. Heal our way forward. Soften our hardened hearts. Inspire us to be just and kind and humble. May we have eyes to see, ears to hear, and hearts to hope. And so it is. Amen. So, I just want to start by saying that this is probably true in our community, that some are happy with the outcome of the election or relieved. And maybe many others of us are deeply affected. I've heard words like grief, traumatized, profoundly discouraged. And so let me just say up front to begin with that this is a spiritual community where everybody is welcome, that we are a big enough tent to embrace all points of view. Unity doesn't mean sameness. Unity doesn't mean we all have to agree or vote for the same candidates. We're learning to be authentic about our shortcomings and our awarenesses and to transcend and include. We're learning to put our focus on our mission and what we're here for. And we're learning to appreciate diversity and experience. And I thought about today, a bigger tent. You know what Paul, the Apostle Paul, what his family business was before he got into all of his preaching and missionary work? He was appealing and he was appalling, but his family business, they were tent makers. That's what they did. They made tents. That's what he did when after the road to Damascus, he went back home and built tents until he was ready to go on the road with his show. So, I shouldn't say that with his show. He was ready to go on the road with his, excuse me. So, the last couple of weeks, we've been looking at some of the wisdom from this book, The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. And as I said, it's really sort of the recommended book that's part of the integral ministry for leadership training and board development. And I hope maybe, we'll have more people that want to study all of it. But, it's the essence of it, that I've shared each week is that whatever's going on, a conscious leader knows the difference between being above the line and below the line. That when we're above the line, we're open, we're curious, we're committed to learning. When we're below the line, we're closed and defensive, committed to being right. And the first mark of a conscious leadership, is just having the self-awareness to notice when we're below the line and be able to tell us the truth. But I don't know if we put this, is to be able to tell that, be able to acknowledge it to ourselves, and then, say, how can I shift above the line where creativity and innovation and collaboration are most likely to occur. So this book is about 15 commitments, things where we come from. I said, well, what's one of the ways that we do that to shift, to above the line when we're below the line? And I said, well, we can learn from real estate. The three most important things in real estate are location, location, location. What's my orientation? Where am I in my mind and my heart and my consciousness and so forth? So today I wanted to look at that question. I wanted to ask the question, what does it look like now, given what we've all experienced over the last week and wherever we are in our feelings and our thoughts about it? What does conscious leadership look like? What does it look like to be above the line right now? So there's 15 commitments. And I thought, which one was the most important one to talk about? And it's this one, what I thought was the most important one. And you just got to love a book that's intended for business people and leaders and organizational leaders that invites people to talk about their feelings. That in itself is like, wow, there's a step forward. But you can even read this with me. Being above the line with this commitment is about, I commit to feeling all of my feelings all the way through to completion. They come, I locate them in my body, then move and breathe and vocalize them so they release all the way through. And below the line, you don't have to read this if you don't want to affirm it, I commit to resisting and judging and apologizing for my feelings. I'm going to repress and avoid and withhold it no matter what. So we want to be above the line. We want to be a conscious leader. And I thought, oh, this is not the time for spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing, by its very definition, is a tendency to use spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep or avoid facing unresolved emotional issues or psychological wounds or unfinished developmental tasks. I think we kind of know what happens when we try to push it under the carpet, we try to suppress or not deal. I'll always remember one time I was in a meeting with some unity ministers, and things were getting kind of tense. And somebody said, oh, let's pray about it. And this man said, no, not yet. Don't pray over what's going on. We need to give people a chance to express what's going on, to put the stuff on the table, and then we can go to prayer. But sometimes we use prayer to repress and avoid being uncomfortable, rather than saying we got to feel our feelings first. And it's so interesting how things sort of come around sometimes in your life. The very last chapter of this book references a woman that was my mentor in college, a woman named Kathy Dannemiller. She was the assistant vice president at Michigan. And if there was anybody, I could almost say my whole life, that had the greatest impact on my life, it was Kathy, who really helped me at a vital time. But she taught me about authentic feelings. I remember my senior year in college when I came out, I was gay, and I was still feeling very fragile and vulnerable about who I could safely tell about it. And I told Kathy, and the first words out of her mouth were, God, Mary, that is so healthy. And it was like, that was what I needed, was somebody to affirm that it was okay what I was feeling. So, I think about our relationship with our feelings is an important part of our mental and physical health. It's an important part of accepting our humanity and our divinity at the same time. And I thought, oh gosh, we have a lot of examples of Jesus expressing his feelings, his humanity and his divinity at the same time. It's like he cursed that fig tree. He said, God darn it, and the fig tree, what did it do? It got smaller. Or he expressed his anger. He turned over the tables of the money changers at the temple. And he said, you don't do this here. He expressed indignation and impatience. And he felt sadness. He wept when his friend Lazarus died. And he experienced great distress and trouble before his death. And obviously he had huge compassion for people, and he, when, all the people that came to him and seeking healing, he had compassion. And he had joy, he had a playfulness of spirit. He said, let the little children come to me. And he turned the water into wine at the wedding. So Jesus, I feel like, set an example for us learning how to authentically express our emotions in a healthy way. He identified the source of his frustration, and he expressed his feelings about it. And, I was thinking one of the things, and Dawn, you'll know this, in nonviolent communications, we talk about feelings, and one of the things that I've learned is, for myself at least, and probably for a lot of people, we have a really limited vocabulary of feelings. When somebody asks you, what are you feeling right now, or how do you feel, a lot of people can only think of maybe a few feeling words, when really there's lots. When we teach the nonviolent communications class, we give people a list of like 100 feeling words, and it's like people are like, wow, there's a lot more to this. And so one of the things, that we learn is how to kind of just even identify what we're feeling. So here's a list. This is just the start of a list of, when our needs are not being met, we may be feeling some of these things. And I'd just like to invite you, if you see a word on this page that either you're feeling now or that you've felt throughout this week, just call it out, heartbroken. Disenchanted. Discouraged. Devastated. Somebody else. I'm sorry. Torn. Hopeless. I'm not getting horrified. So,
I feel empowered, actually, because I want to stand up to the drill baby drill idea.
Okay. Yeah. So the idea is that probably at any time in our lives we could identify with some or all of these feelings, and I think some of us may be feeling some of these right now, or today, or this week. And so the first thing is just to be willing to say that. I was on a call with a group of ministers this week, and one person shared that not only were they feeling grief about the election results for them, but that her mother had died recently. And then last week her brother had been shot and killed. And so she said her therapist told her she was experiencing cumulative grief. That grief has at least 3 layers. There's rage, which is on that list, I think, or should be, sorrow, and then letting go and moving on. In that final phase, the letting go and moving on is, I think, where we begin to find some meaning and purpose, or we find our authentic action. But we can't do that until we work through the first couple of stages of rage and sorrow. And then here are some feeling words when we feel like our needs are met. Is anybody feeling any of these? Or do you want to feel this right now? Confident or hope. Joyful, yeah. Joyful, or curious. That's not on the list, but it should be. Oh, it is on the list. Good. It's on, energetic. Just to be here with everybody. So I love the idea in this book that he says here that great leaders, the authors say, great leaders learn to access all 3 centers of our intelligence. Our head, our heart, and our gut. And that the truth is most leaders, and in a lot of the world, the overemphasis that we mostly focus on our head. That I can figure out, some facts, I can add up the numbers, and this is it. The numbers don't lie, as somebody said. So that's good. It's good. You need that part, but we need all of this. That our emotional intelligence comes from our heart. And studies show that emotional intelligence is every bit as important, if not more important, sometimes, as our intellectual intelligence. So achieving emotional intelligence, being in touch with our feelings, involves first understanding our feelings, understanding the meaning of it, our emotions, and then being able to relate to it in a positive way. Maybe a good way to understand emotions is just to separate into emotion, energy in motion, that our emotions, when we're feeling an emotion, when we express it, it's energy in motion. When we're not feeling it, or we don't have a healthy way to express it, it becomes stuck, it becomes stagnant, it finds a place in our mind, our body, our hearts, and our lives. So, I like that the authors say really anytime, in a business meeting, in the middle of a day, whatever you're doing, you can just stop and pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Where is this feeling in my body? And for some of us, that might be a little challenging, but we could just practice right now. Just take a deep breath. What am I feeling right now? What's the feeling? And where is it in my body? If anybody wants to say a word or...
When I walked in this morning, the building felt peaceful.
Peace.
I think it's all the years of prayer and being real and as authentic as we can be.
So Claudia is saying when she walked in the building felt peaceful. So you felt peaceful, and it's because of the years of energy and consciousness that have been built up. Yeah. Anybody else have a word or a feel? Hopeful. Mm-hmm. More calm. Connected. Yeah. Determined. Present. Inspired to move forward. Mm-hmm. Being willing to trust. Being honest. Honest, authentic.
You don't know where's a safe place to be able to say how you think and feel.
Mm-hmm.
And this place offers that.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that it's in divine order.
Trusting, knowing it's in divine order. So what's the feeling? Excited. Okay.
It may not be what you think.
Mm-hmm. Faith. Maybe faithful or faith. Thank you, Sandy.
Love, I feel love when I'm with this
Love
family,
or
yeah.
loving or loved. I'm sorry, what? Belief. Belief.
Still respecting regardless of different.
Respecting. Mm-hmm.
Nurtured.
Nurtured.
Oh, yeah.
Nurtured. Good. So the authors say that feelings are supposed to be released. Shared. Just even speaking these words out loud was a way of releasing that energy into the universe, into this room, into this community, that if you just keep it to yourself, it doesn't get released. And that feeling a feeling is feeling the feeling all the way through. It's one thing to have a little bit of feeling, but then stuff it back down again. But feeling it all the way through, it's kind of like riding a wave, It's like, if you pull yourself back, you don't get the feeling it all the way through. It means letting that feeling have its full life cycle by breathing, moving, vocalizing, resting in calmness, riding the wave to completion. Maybe that's why some of us said, well, I feel a little better than I did when I, got up this morning or yesterday. And the authors say that really the truth is a feeling can move through in 90 seconds even. Not that another wave's not going to come, but in 90 seconds it can ride through to completion when we do these steps, when we acknowledge it, when we are present to it, when we breathe or vocalize it in some way. And so, they suggest that there are some things we can do to release our emotions. We can locate the sensation in our body. Oh, I'm feeling it in my gut, or I'm feeling it in my heart, or I'm feeling it in my back, a heavy weight, or I'm feeling something, and breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Everybody keep breathing. I want to get you out of here in one piece. Allow, accept, appreciate, and then match the experience with some expression. And it might be a sound, it might be a word, it might be sharing with somebody else, just giving voice to it. So I share all this because, he says this is one of the 15 commitments. This is part of how we move from below the line to above the line. And is to feeling our feelings and not saying, oh, that's not part of, I'm just going to I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to read another article or, but to just be able to honor, our stories, our life experience, our, where we've come from and what we're feeling. So there's one other thing I wanted to share with you before we're done, is I'm so pleased that our prayer chaplains are reading this book, and I've mentioned it before. It's by David Brooks, called How to Know a Person, The Art of Seeing Others Deeply and Being Deeply Seen. And on Monday, our prayer chaplains meet once a month, and we met on Monday online, and we read we talked about 2 chapters, An Epidemic of Blindness and Hard Conversations. And, there's always something that stands out for me from these chapters, and so, this was one thing that kind of stood out for me that David wrote. He said, I guess that's only part of it. He said, first, the thing we need most is relationships. And the thing that we seem to suck, excuse me for saying this in church, the thing we seem to suck at most is relationships. So I'm sorry you didn't get the first sentence. That's okay, Christy, don't worry about it. So the thing we need most is connection and relationships, and the thing we seem to struggle with the most, or sometimes we fail at, is relationships. And he goes on to describe this phenomena from the cognitive sciences about how people make sense of their reality. And he said that they found that, and they did all these different studies about people looking at the incline of a hill, like in San Francisco, where the hills really are steep. Who here's been to San Francisco? And some people would look at that hill and think, man, that's really steep to walk up. Some would think, oh, that's not so steep. And what they found looking at a group of students, that there was a group of students who were all college athletes, and they were in tip-top condition and did a lot of training. And they would look at a really steep hill, and it didn't seem very steep to them, that they guess, oh, that's only an incline of about 5 or something. And somebody else who was not in that good a condition would look at it and think, oh, man, that's like 20. Do we got the little picture there? That was a really steep hill. And then they did the exercise again with people carrying heavy backpacks. And they saw hills, and the person with a really heavy backpack would look at this hill and say, oh, that's got to be, super steep, and I forget what the numbers were, really inclined. And then people who didn't have a backpack or had a very light backpack looked at the same hill and thought, that's not very steep. That's not going to be such a big deal. And then they had people who had just consumed an energy drink, and they looked at a hill, and they didn't think it looked so steep, and others did. And then they did a study with people who had been listening to sad music, and people who had been listening to sad music, they looked at the hill, and they thought, oh man, that's a really steep hill. And somebody else who had been listening to happy music and upbeat music looked at the same hill and thought, that's not such a steep hill, I can do that. Or somebody who's overweight might, thinks that the distances on something are a lot longer distance, and somebody who's not very overweight and in better shape, well, that's not very far. I can walk from here to Gate Circle, no problem. And so after doing all these different studies, the finding that they came to is that we project our own individual mental experience onto the world. And therefore, we mistake our mental experience to be the physical world. That we see the world not as it is, but as it is for us. What's going on in our own lives is how we see the world. And they refer to this concept as affordance. That based on what's going on for us or with us in our own lives, our own world, our physical or mental or emotional challenges, that we perceive a degree of difficulty in a task, that we have this idea that, that for one person that how they afford, they think about, how was it, he said, that they see a hill as, how does this afford certain possibilities? For one person, it's like, oh, that's no big deal. I can run up that hill. I'm going to jog up there fast. And somebody else looks at that same hill, and if they have some physical limitations or some other kinds of things, that it's much more difficult. So the idea is that there's not a right and wrong way of looking at things, but rather we look at situations through the lens of our own experience, our own worldview. I could be out hiking in the woods with a group of 20 people of very different physical or emotional or social or economic capacities, and we'd all come to a steep hill and we'd see it differently. And so, he ends the chapter with this. He says that there's no way to make hard conversations unhard. Has been his experience, that you can never fully understand a person whose life experience is very different from your own. And he said, I have found that it is quite possible to turn the distrust into trust, to build mutual respect. And I thought that's what gives me a little bit of hope in the world, that this is our time, this is our opportunity to learn to get better at having relationships, to practice the art of seeing others deeply and allowing others to see us more deeply. And I wanted to read, before our meditation, something from one of my heroes, Margaret Wheatley. And she has this book. She talks about warriors for the human spirit. She says, warriors for the human spirit are awake human beings who have chosen not to flee. They abide. They serve as beacons of an ancient story that tells of the goodness, generosity, and creativity of humanity. You will know them by their compassionate presence. You will identify them by their cheerfulness. When asked, how do they do it? They will tell you about discipline, dedication, and the need for community. And I thought, I love that, we could say warriors, but we could say champions too, champions of the human spirit. You will know them by their compassionate presence. You will identify them by their cheerfulness, that they are beacons of that ancient story of goodness and generosity and creativity of the human spirit. And how do they do it? Discipline. Just showing up here today is a discipline and a dedication and a need for community, connecting with others to lift up the light. So I think that we are all warriors in training. We're champions of the human spirit. And that's what we're called to do now. So one way that we do that is by praying and singing. And we'll do both right now with Thomas leading our prayers and our songs.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right where I am, I When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God.
Thank you, Thomas. And so now I invite us to, in our time of prayer and quiet reflection, to know that this is a time to draw the circle even bigger and broader. You know, Eric Butterworth talked about God. The nature of God is the center is everywhere and the circumference is nowhere, that there is no limit to the circle. And so today, in our prayer circle, we draw it bigger and broader and see it infinite, to include every aspect of our being, including our feelings and our thoughts and our sense of well-being. So as we take a deep breath, we step into the circle whose circumference knows no end. And in this circle of prayer, we lift up our thoughts, our feelings, our hopes, our dreams, all that we know to be true and good and generous and kind and creative. And this is exercising our freedom. The Christ within is our true source of freedom that can never be taken from us. So let us take a few moments in the silence to just rest in this place of feeling our feelings, perhaps, knowing that it's all part of our journey. Can you hear the birds? I can hear the sound. Of nature affirming new life, calling each of us forward to play our part in the unfoldment of a greater plan for good. I commit to feeling my feelings all the way through to completion. And I know there are safe places to do that. And then my authentic actions will be revealed. So we take a deep breath. Say thank you to the birds for affirming our part in the plan. You can tap your heart or give yourself a hug to just know that this is a time also to practice radical self-care, self-compassion, and know that we are here for each other and our our world. And so I invite Tom to come forward as our prayer chaplain, and we continue to hold in our prayers all those in our community that are on their healing journey, including Mary Frank, and I can't even begin to name everyone, but Tom will have the perfect words, I'm sure. So.
As we join our hearts and our hopes with the hearts and the hopes of the people who have put prayers in the box, and the hearts and the hopes of those sitting next to us and in our community and around the world, let us remember that the truest thing we can say and think about ourselves is that we are spirit, we are connected, we are love. And it is in that awareness, that prayer, those expressions of love, those thoughts of hope, where the healing happens. And it's always there, just a thought away. And so it is.
Thank you, Tom. And as always, Tom is our prayer chaplain for today, so he'll be available for prayer support after the service in our lighthouse corner. And now, Thomas. We got Tom and Thomas. I am the thinker.
I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I am wisdom, I am light. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. If you ask me what am I am beauty, I am joy. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. If you I can choose to be the light that brings us someone's night. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life.
was really great. Thank you, thank you. So, newcomers, I know we got you a welcome packet, and there is a guest card with that. V, if you'd like to turn it back into me or the greeters, we'll add you to our mailing list. And so thank you for joining us today. So now we have our opportunity to share of our abundance. Love offering is what we call practicing generosity. Giving, thoughtful giving with a grateful heart is how I like to think about it. So just a reminder, if you'd like to give with a credit card today, Christy can take care of that after the service, or you can give online through our website, or become one of our automatic givers where a check or a deposit is sent on a regular basis. So let's bless the offerings we have to give today and extend that energy to all the gifts that come into our ministry. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. Freely. Thank you. You guys got it right. I goofed up. Oh, well, it's okay. Yeah. It happens sometimes. Okay, we could go ahead and start passing the bags, please. So let's bless these gifts now together. We bless these gifts. See them pressed down, shaken together, heaped up, running over, and return to every giver. Thank you, God. Amen. So Michelle, you were going to give us an update on the what's next. If you could, what's next?
Hello, lovely people. As some of you know, over the last few weeks, we have started talk surrounding envisioning this community's future due to Reverend Mary's upcoming retirement, as well as changes that are happening locally and nationally with churches. We also said at that time that we were forming this What's Next team to talk about the aforementioned. Everyone, of course, is welcome to join this team. So last Wednesday, when we met, the What Next team met for the first time, and out of that first meeting, we came up with a few initial steps and actions. One of them being that we want to start getting feedback from the congregation, including you virtual viewers. So today, and the next few weeks, but today specifically, I'm going to be passing out this questionnaire. It's 7 questions, very simple, 7 questions. If you choose not to take this from me, that's okay. Everyone has choices, and I won't be offended. But we'd like you to really take some time to go within your heart to answer these authentically, and we'd like them, at least everyone, to get them in by the end of this month. The virtual viewers and those who are not here, we're working with Christy to include this in the upcoming email blast where you could, complete it online and submit it. But again, everyone's opinions and thoughts matter. Everyone is vital and integral in this transformation, this transition that we're going through. So please take the time to complete this. If you have any questions, come to me, and I will do my best to answer them for you. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next thing I want to mention is a lot of appreciation. A lot has happened in this last week here at our church, and one is the carpet's been repaired out front, and it looks great. So our board, just to give you an update on that situation, our board met last Sunday after church and decided, due to a lot of factors, including timing and weather and everything else, that we would do a temporary repair to get us through till next spring. And that was going to be in the range of about $200, and I can see it's already done. and then in the spring, we will get new quotes and plan to probably redo the whole carpet. So I know that a lot of people were very generous in their giving to help us get what we needed. So you have two. I haven't had a chance to contact you yet because I didn't get the names. They were on our the thing here, iPad. So, but I was going to call everybody, or Christy will. You can either, we can either give you the money back if you'd like, or we could hold the money till next spring, and it'll be earmarked for new carpet out front. So, so anyway, but that's the status report. But so just please advise Christy or me if you would like the check to be returned. Otherwise, we will earmark the money. But anyway, and much appreciation to the Building and Grounds team that took care of that this week. A lot of other important things happened. We had a fall cleanup. Thank you to the people that were here on Friday raking leaves. Your picture was right on the front of the email blast on Saturday. It was a great picture. I want to thank Max and everybody that helped with our election day setup. That was a ton of work. And Eve putting things back on Wednesday. And the election day bake sale was a big success. We made, I think, over $400. And so thanks to Jamie and everybody that donated. And guess what? There's some leftovers. And they've been kept fresh in the freezer or the fridge. So please come on downstairs. And thanks to whoever made coffee. And there's lots of treats down there. So that, we're going to, on November 24th will be a big Sunday. We're having our Thanksgiving service, Thanksgiving potluck. You can sign up if you know what you'd like to bring. And then at 1 o'clock, Corey and Ann Gallagher are going to do another one of their concert things with music and poetry and everything. And it's a beautiful meditative experience, so you might want to plan to stay for that. And then Mary Beth and I have been talking about the remembrance service. We usually do that around the first or second week in December. But we wanted to check in with the congregation, see is there interest, and we don't want to just plan something and then have not any. Are there a few people that would like to attend or think you might want to attend, or one or two? I mean, it's worth doing for me if it's only a small group, but okay, that's help. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. The remembrance service is once a year. It's an opportunity for us to come together and just share and remember people in our lives that have passed on, either in the last year or generally in our lives. It's kind of, the holidays are a time when many of us really especially feel the loss of loved ones that have passed on. And many churches do it. Sometimes they call it a blue service or different, but it's an opportunity to light a candle and share some memories and be supported in community for thinking about people that we're especially missing at this time of year. So, and it's about an hour. We usually do it on an evening, 7 o'clock. I think it's better to do it in person than online. But we just kind of wanted to get a sense whether it would be really serving the needs of our community this year or not. So, okay. And then next Sunday, Reverend Pat Ball will be here from Canada with her little doggie. And she said she's got a prosperity message for us and some Bible metaphysical interpretation. So 2 for 1, that's prosperity right there. So I think we're, Jamie?
I wanted to thank everybody for your contribution.
Yeah.
And now we're on to the next event. Santa is going
Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds like fun. Okay. So yeah, so Jamie's organizing something. It's really intended to be kind of an outreach event to the Elmwood Village, our whole community here, but especially Elmwood Village. And we're going to have Santa, and we're going to have, whoever else shows up. Rudolph, yeah, okay. So there you go. That sounds like fun. Okay, good. So I think we're ready to form a circle and do our closing songs. And then remember, there's coffee and baked goods downstairs.
We are all